So today we're here with Laura Melascaglia, and Laura is the food and beverage manager here. She runs the Fuse Sports Bar and Grill,
Jack Daniel's restaurant, Little Bar, the American Craft Tavern, and then also what is currently Frosty's restaurant. It's seasonal, so it's sometimes a tiki bar or a speakeasy. Right now it's Christmas, all Christmas.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you for having me.
Speak with you, absolutely. So, you've obviously been doing this for a while. If you're managing more than one restaurant at a huge hotel like this, take me back to the beginning. I want to hear the story from the start. How did you end up in the hospitality business, particularly the food and beverage side of things? And how did you end up here at Gaylord Opryland? And what, I guess, was it about this hotel that made you want to work here? The whole
nine
story.
yards?
Yes, ma'am.
So I started working when I was 14 years old first I started at a country club, and then I started a second job at the same time at a standalone restaurant, the Brown Derby. And then just growing up for the past 9 or so years, I've been mostly in food and beverage. I've worked at hotels, resorts, standalone restaurants, country clubs. I studied abroad in Italy, and I did a couple little internships there. So yeah, so basically, growing up, you want to be an engineer and a lawyer, a bunch of different things. And then I finally had to decide what I was going to major in college, and that was kind of hard. And then me and my mom realized that hospitality management existed, and I'd already been doing it, and I just always been good at it, good with people. So that was what I chose to major in college. So I did 4 years at Lynn University, a smaller school in Boca Raton, Florida. And that's where I studied abroad in Italy. I did an internship in Nashville, which was required for my degree. That was a management internship at the Hillwood Country Club. And then I graduated and I came back here. As for Marriott and Gaylord and how I ended up here, basically I knew I wanted to work in hotels, just discounts, great benefits, insurance, the whole PTO, everything. So I applied to be a Voyager with Marriott International, which is most of the executives in this building, they'll tell you that's what they started as, even if it wasn't called Voyager at the time. And they asked me for my 3 locations in the US I'd want to work in, but at the time I was set on Nashville. So I just wrote Nashville, Nashville, Nashville. And then I got the call that I was given the job here. So they placed me at Opryland, which was pretty cool because there's some other hotels that aren't as big and crazy. And yeah, so like I said, I worked on the Delta Island for 6 months here. That is going to be Delta Marketplace. It's it's a marketplace. And then Paisanos, which is pizza, Stacks is burgers, a couple other coffee shops, and then in-room dining. And then I started here in January, which once again is the Fuse Sports Bar, huge, crazy sports bar. Jack Daniel's Southern restaurant, so Southern food, barbecue, and Frosty's, which is currently Christmas. We serve the Fuse menu, and then American Craft Tavern. It's a small, cute craft tavern, and yeah. So that's how I made it here.
That's awesome. This is more of a personal thing for me, I guess, but I'm Italian. My family's Italian, and you said you studied in Italy.
Yes, Florence.
I want to hear about that. How was that?
It was amazing. Florence, maybe it's because it's the first time I left the country since I was 6 years old, but it is my favorite city. It was awesome. I studied international tourism.
Was it more so the food you were?
It was just everything. It was
the
just
whole culture.
The culture. One night I was with some Irish folk. The next I made a Australian friend, Mexican friends. It's a huge tourist area, so I was just with different cultures all the time, less so Italian people actually. But the food was amazing. Yeah, from the steak to the seafood. I studied international tourism. I did a couple little internships at their bed and breakfast, and then their spa. And it's a great experience. You gotta get over there. Florence is amazing.
I've always wanted to go to Italy. I of course go visit the parts my family's from.
Yeah, I'm from
and then
Sicily.
Also go to other. Sicily.
Yeah, Sicily and Calabria. So I haven't made it down there yet.
Is that where your family's from? Awesome.
Yep.
We kind of between that as well as hospitality and tourism. There's some similarities there. So another thing I want to ask, I guess, is in terms of your experience in management,
Mm-hmm.
did it take a while for that opportunity to come, or did it kind of happen quickly? Like the minute you found that that was your niche, you wanted to get right into it?
Yeah, so I got into management basically. I was still in college and I was working at a restaurant, Sicilian Oven. It is not yet franchised, it's a standalone restaurant, but we got up to about 8 or 9 stores. So it's the same 2 owners. Each location has a GM and then an assistant manager. So I was a server and I bartended as well. And then I left for 4 months to do my management internship here in Nashville at the country club. So I left for 4 months. I went back for Florida because I had one more year until I graduated. So I let my job know that I'd be gone for the summer and I plan on coming back. And basically, right around when I left, we got a new general manager. And just right before I left, he got to know me a little bit. We bonded. So he was just basically waiting for me to come back, which was a huge compliment. So 4 months, when it was supposed to probably be only 2 or 3, I was gone for 4 months. Came back and they were waiting for me, and they promoted me to what they called a new position, the front of house lead. So I was part of the management team and he taught me a lot. And then I brought that here. So yeah, like I said, he waited for me. So it was a huge compliment. I put in my time, obviously past years in different places, but then Sicilian Oven, that restaurant specifically, probably like a year I put in my time as a server, and then they wanted to, you know, grow from within rather than always looking out. And they knew I was in school for hospitality, and they just really liked me. So they
It was a
gave me the
combination of
opportunity.
knowing your background as well as needing someone to.
Yeah, so I think it kind of just like the shoe fits. The assistant manager there at the time, he didn't have a degree, etc. So it was completely different. You can definitely get into management easily. They just recognized my potential and then gave me the opportunity, and they waited for me, which was really awesome. And they're still waiting for me. They said, you know, if you come back in a month or a day or a year, just please come back. So it's nice to know you always have a place that wants you, and I miss it. So it's definitely very different. Working at a standalone restaurant, then Marriott, a huge place. It's just so corporate, so it's so different. So I
was actually
yeah
working my way there.
Yeah.
I've worked in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I've never worked in a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
like restaurant within a hotel. So
Yeah.
I can imagine that the
Mm-hmm.
operation scale size is much different.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Like I said, the main thing is it's so corporate. It's a lot stricter. Another thing that's huge, especially about Opryland, so we have 2,888 rooms. It's the largest non-gaming resort in the United States. We have 3 atriums, we have sound waves, and then of course we have 2 months of Christmas with our ice exhibit, and there's also ice skating and sledding and so many attractions that bring in so many people.
And I can imagine all the moving parts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Food and beverage required.
Yes. And then also with Opryland, we do 80% conventions, 20% everything else, like leisure and family travel. So that being said, mainly our business is conventions. So we'll have, you know, a Pepsi group, and we have corporate groups. We can have like religious-based groups. We could have volunteer groups. So sometimes the group is paying for their guests to be there. Sometimes the guests are paying to be at that convention. It just completely depends. So with a place this large, or a hotel in general, like at a restaurant, something happens, there's a spill, you clean it up. Here, I need toilet paper in my bathroom, I've got to call the public space department. Or, you know, we have security, public space, stewarding, housekeeping, front desk, rooms operations, engineering, horticulture because of all of our plans, human resources, marketing, revenue management, sales. So there's so much that goes into this place, especially we have banquets. So when we speak of the 80% business that we do for conventions, we don't make their food. Banquets does that. But when they get out of their banquets, they come out, they have nothing left scheduled, and then that's when they swarm us, come eat, and get a little tipsy. Then you got to make sure they didn't drink too much at their open bar in banquet events. So it's just huge operation. There's always something. I got security on the phone every other night. Just crazy things.
for example, let's say you need more rags for the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I know in a standard alone restaurant, you just walk into the
Yeah.
janitorial closet and grab it. In a which I didn't know that. In a hotel, you've got to call that department and get them to bring it to you.
So yeah, it just depends. So we order our own stuff. We have dry storage in the back where I do have like rags. But something you made me think of is we have yellow caution signs for spills. When we run out of those, which I did yesterday, I call security, and they're the ones who keep those and bring them to me. If someone throws up, I don't clean it up. You call housekeeping. So it is a huge, it's just crazy, but obviously on such a large scale.
That's crazy.
You know.
Do you like not just that, but the job you have here, or or is it times that so many moving parts it could kind of be stressful?
It can definitely be stressful, especially post-COVID. I feel like things are different and still short-staffed, but we finally built a really great management team here in the district, so there's that. But I have been here when we have been short-staffed as well, which is definitely hard. But I do like it. Like I said, I like the volume. We get hit really hard, the most out of probably the whole hotel for kind of like nightlife. And then managing multiple restaurants at once, there's so many employees and there's so many guests, there's always something to do. And then we also, which is cool, we get to run our own restaurant buyouts. So basically like banquet events. So sometimes there are 15, 30 people. We've done also 1,000-person events. So that kind of...
like a private perk buyout.
Yeah, so we have, REO is a restaurant event order. So we can have like a small one in a section of the restaurant, or we have full-on buyouts, which means, they buy out the entire restaurant. And then we've also had full district buyouts. So Jack Daniel's, Fuse, the Tiki Bar / Frosties, all bought out at once for the same group. Wow. So they're huge operations.
Oh, because the group is so large that all the restaurants will still be packed.
It's whatever they want to spend their money on. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
And then our chefs do the food, similar to what banquets would do.
Do you guys work with banquet a lot, or is it kind of banquet is one food service operation, restaurant is completely different?
We're completely different. So when they have their own banquets takes care of that, but when they buy out a restaurant, that's like a whole different sale. Like there's people who do sales for banquets, and then there's a couple ladies who do restaurant sales. So once they sell that and people book it, it's our restaurant, it's our responsibility. So it's really cool. It gives like just a different flair to regular food and beverage operations.
That's awesome. I'm gonna kind of, I guess, go from a more experienced to advice, I guess you could give. Anybody who is an incoming graduate or student, and particularly in my case, MTSU, who's going for a hospitality management degree, would you recommend anybody that went from that program, came here, and they applied for a management position? Like, do you guys do a lot of, like, I guess, internships, or, you may not have a lot of experience in the field, but this degree is helpful. We're willing to try to help you get your foot in the door. Is that something you guys
I totally recommend that. The Voyager program is awesome, and the requirement is that you have a hospitality management degree, or say you're going into engineering, but at a hotel you would have to have that kind of degree. That's the requirement, is to have the degree. And also I think you can only apply for the program within a year of graduating, so they don't want you to...
Oh, like from graduation?
Yes, so they're looking for hospitality management graduates to enter the program so they can build. And then your program is 1 year long, and then you can transfer wherever you like with Marriott if you want to move cities, etc. The point is just to build you for the company as a whole, like not just for one specific hotel, just for the company. I am actually leaving Opryland this Thursday. Thanksgiving is my last day. But I'm staying with Marriott. I'm gonna be working at the Renaissance Nashville Hotel downtown. So basically, they built me, they helped me, turn me into a better manager, and then I'm still going to be part of the company. I just can go wherever I want. So yeah.
So you're part of the, I guess you could say the corporation.
Yeah, I'm still with Marriott.
The location.
Just at a different hotel. So hotels are crazy
How do you feel about
because
that? You kind of nervous about it, or
I'm ready.
you're ready to
Ready
go?
for something different. Yeah. hmm
And
I'm
is
gonna
it,
be in
is it,
banquets
is,
too, so.
is it going to still be food and beverage, or is it going to be
So it'll be banquets, which
hotel?
is still like operations, but it's not exactly. It's not restaurants.
Gotcha.
Still be lots of food and beverage there.
That's awesome. Well, I wish you the best of
Thank
luck.
you so much.
You got it. What kind of qualities did you find you needed to have in order to be a successful food and beverage manager, hospitality manager, anything in this field? Like when you got started, I myself have kind of had that, that you got to be this way in order to be successful. What did you think you needed to do in order to lead a team successfully and be a strong manager?
You just have to be a people person. I met probably my whole management team right now. They have very different personalities. You know, there's a manager who's quieter, but you know that she like knows what she's doing, knows how to get the job done, can show up when like needed. And then there's people like me or one of my other bosses that are just a little crazy and outgoing. So it's really just you got to be hardworking. You got to know there's going to be long hours. There's going to be nights, holidays, weekends. And you just gotta want to do it. It's not for those who don't. You know, the customer is always right, but sometimes dealing with them can be difficult, but you still gotta act with a sense of professionalism and, you know, find a solution for them, even if it wouldn't be the hugest problem for you. So you just gotta work hard, show up, put in the effort, just be dedicated, and find out what kind of management style you'd like to lead with.
And yours was more outgoing?
Yeah, and you just gotta morph into it. I would say kind of I'm in the middle of a couple of my bosses. The one who's more outgoing and really cool, and the other one's a little stricter. Basically, you care about people and you make sure they know it, but you also just kind of have to draw a line. There are rules, especially corporate, and you just can't be too considerate. I think I wrote that down for one of your questions. I care about my staff and stuff, but sometimes you just have to play by the book and the rules because sometimes being too considerate, no one's ever gonna be happy, you know? So you just
no matter
gotta,
what you do, you can't please everyone.
Yeah, you can't please everybody, so you just kind of gotta do your job at the end of the day and ride at a baseline between extremities. So.
Awesome. Is there anything you found that maybe you try to do from a managerial level? I guess situation where you tried to do something either in a management style, something you put your like investment, open up a business, anything like that, and you found it didn't work to where you had to put your best foot forward and make a directional change or personality change or anything like that? Have you had an experience like that?
I would kind of, yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Sure.
I would kind of relate it to what I was saying. So ever since before I was a manager, I've been in food and beverage. I knew I was good with people. I think I've realized it's easier for me to deal with guests than it's very different dealing with guests than a team, especially with a team here so large. So I think a big thing I've been working on is, like I said, not being too considerate, because everyone's not gonna be happy, and you can't always just be trying to please your staff. You have to remind them, you know, I'm your manager here, I'm here to manage. So that's just one of my things, kind of, like I said, a baseline. I care and I want you to know I care and I'm here and I consider, but sometimes you just gotta, you know, manage the place.
Absolutely. And lastly, is there any advice that maybe you can give to graduating students at MTSU and those within the hospitality management program at MTSU who are looking to get into the food and beverage game in order to help them give a head start in their careers, being fresh graduates out of college? And if so, I guess what would that be? And if not, why not as well?
So, I would say look for a company like Marriott or Hilton or Hyatt. They're great companies, especially starting off. They love to see someone who graduated with a degree in hospitality management or something similar. And then you really just get immersed, especially like a place like this. I'm sure you can come get a job here. hands down, and you'll just get completely immersed. And then, like I said, it comes with all the amazing benefits that Marriott comes with. Even if you're a manager or even if you're a server assistant, everyone who works for the company gets all the benefits. So there's all different types of insurances, there's stock programs, there's 401k, there's paid time off, there's hotel discounts globally. So yeah, especially being a young adult, having those benefits, you might not get at a standalone restaurant, or you might be on your own for the first time away from home, and it brings a lot of stability to you. And then you could save up, you could gain some experience, go wherever you'd like. One day I want to open my own restaurant, so gotta make the money to do that first.
Similarity.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to mimic sort of like what you're doing, but the place I worked at in Florida, Sicilian oven, Italian food, it's cheap, but you can make it so good. So it's not like owning a steakhouse, and then you just make the prices a little higher because you're delivering quality, not a place that sells by the slice. You get full pies, you get good pastas, good specials. So that's my plan one day.
It's kind of what we do at the
Yeah.
place I'm managing. It's whole pizzas, and it's like 15, $16, something like that, for sure. And I gotta check that out as well. But I'll tell you what, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with someone of your experience and caliber in the business. There's so much to learn from someone like you, who's obviously got a world of experience. Thank you so much for your time today, Laura, and it's been a great opportunity to meet you, hear from your wisdom, and just learn about you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Of course.
Absolutely.